Good morning, traders. Steve Gans here, and welcome to the weekend update on Sunday, March 2nd, 2025. So, pretty interesting week last week, and as I had mentioned, I was expecting some further pullback in the market, which we did in fact get. So, if you might remember, last week we were in this general range here, and I said we could be coming back down to the bottom of the channel, possibly even go through the channel to this prior support resistance area there. And that is, in fact, exactly where we went to on Thursday. Then on Friday, we opened at that same spot, started to move down, and then rallied hard. Now, the challenge here in my mind is that while it was a nice rally, and you do get big bounce rallies after a number of days of selling off like that, we didn't get back above this area. So that's what I'm going to wait to see here early this week. Are we going to be able to break back above these prior lows here? Or are those now going to act as some resistance to us? So that'll be a big tell Monday, Tuesday, etc. We're right now at the bottom of this channel, and that is a point where we could get rejected. So right now, I am neutral on the market. I think there's a 50-50 chance whether we go higher from here or whether we roll over and continue the potential down move. What I really don't want to see, if you're bullish, is you don't want to see a break of that particular low right there, at least not a close. Now, we could go below that a little bit, rebound back above it. That would be somewhat okay. But if we break and close below that, particularly if we ever get here and close below this 200-day moving average, that's a pretty bearish sign. Now, in our support, again, did get that very nice rally on Friday. Also, that rally happened on some pretty high volume. So that's also a very nice thing to have happen. That certainly helps the case that we might still be in a bull mode. Now we look at volatility index here, and our volatility index didn't really explode. It certainly went a little higher on Thursday, but it didn't blow out of these older highs, so it wasn't up in here somewhere. So that also is a bit of a plus. The fact that volatility index, while it did elevate a little bit, it didn't necessarily go to new recent highs. That's certainly also a little bit encouraging as far as our market being able to stay in a current zone. Qs, same thing on Qs. If you'll remember, I had said that we could come lower here on the Qs, and I would expect to hit this support resistance area, possibly hit the bottom of the channel. In the Qs, we didn't hit the bottom of the channel, but we did come back to that support area right there and rallied. Again, much like with the SPX or the SPY, I would love to see us get back above this area right here, back above the mid-range of that channel. That would confirm that our up move, our bullish trend, is still intact. But in both cases, we are hitting tops and rolling back away from those tops. We have not made new highs. So one of the things you always like to look for is you like to see that you start making higher highs and higher lows. That's what tells us that we're remaining in an uptrend. But here we made a little bit of a lower low. Now we did go back and refute that. Had we made a higher high here, I'd feel a lot better. We did not and rolled off that. So again, we don't want to start making lower lows and then subsequently lower highs. That starts to signal a downtrend. Some people would call that a head and shoulders top. Right now, it would be called a double top in this case, because we have that resistance area that came in a second time, and then we rolled hard away from that resistance area. We can see here too, while we did have some up volume in the Qs on Friday, overall we had, 6-7 days of pretty heavy down volume there. So that's a bit suspect, if you will, on the Qs. Let's come take a look now at the volatility on the Qs. And when we look at the volatility of the Qs, also a little bit concerning in that the volatility there did get a little higher. Thursday was pretty high. Friday opened even higher yet. Now it did drop back, but it certainly did start to go above those prior highs, and again made even a higher high on Friday. So that's a little bit concerning as far as volatility on the Qs. And we can see that it did not drop quite as much here. I would have liked to have seen a further drop in those. So that's going to be something that's certainly on the radar here as we go into next week. And then we can look at the IWM, which again is similar to the Russell. Last week I also mentioned that the Russell I would expect to, since it broke out of that channel, to maybe fall a little further. I had this support resistance area in here. It did break that with some conviction, rallied back, and unfortunately when it rallied back, it just rallied back right to that resistance area. So I was hoping that was going to be support, but it became broken support on Thursday as we went right down through it. And again, we had increased volume most of the week there. Then we did finally rally back a little bit on Friday, but that rally back did not break above that area. So in all three cases, we have some resistance hanging out there. I'd love to see us clear those prior consolidation areas in all three indexes. I'd like to see it on higher volume in order to be able to confirm that some uptrends are in fact still intact here. Because right now they're looking a little dicey, which is why I'm saying I'm market neutral right now. I can't really say I'm in bullish mode anymore, but we haven't rolled over to where I would say that I would be in bearish mode either. We're in that limbo, that no man's land. Also on the Russell or the volatility for the IWM, you can see that we did spike up, much like in the Qs, higher than recent times. And then on Friday, we opened higher yet. We did start to settle back down later in the day, but we didn't come down again below that consolidation area. So I'd love to see us go higher through the consolidation areas on all three indexes, and I'd love to see the volatility in all three of those drop by Tuesday, Wednesday. If that can happen, then I think a case can be made that this uptrend is still intact and all systems are still go in a bullish nature. So that, of course, remains to be seen, and we'll see how that plays out come next week. But we also have our moving averages and things like that in play here. So everyone, that will wrap up the weekend market update for Sunday, March 2nd.